Okay, Angie Brown, thank you so much for coming on Honest Talks. It's an honour and a pleasure to have you here.
Oh, thank you, beautiful Jasmine Knight, for having me on your show.
Oh.
Or anybody being remotely interested in my career or asking, how come you've been in the business 30 odd years and whatever. Just anybody that's interested in what I've done, where I've been, and how long it's taken me to get here. Thank you for thinking of me and inviting me.
No problem at all. So, as you said, you've been in the business 30 years. Everybody knows your beautiful voice, your beautiful face, your commanding stage presence, but I'd love to get to know you a little bit more. So we can talk about the music before later on,
Yeah.
but I'd like to maybe get to know you a little bit more. So I'd like to know what it was like for you growing up before music. What was Angie Brown like?
Even before house music came about. Well, really, it's a really, really massive, expansive question. I literally grew up with literally house music in the house, in my mum and dad's house. There was always music. My mum was always having a party. Basically,
wow.
My parents came over. My dad came in 1954 and my mum arrived in 1955.
And where were they from?
They're from Jamaica.
Yeah, half Jamaican. Sorry.
That's right. But of course, they dealt with the racism, no blacks, no dogs, no Irish or whatever way it was. But they came, they adapted, they were Commonwealth British citizens, they were invited, and it was post-war, Second World War. So they were, a lot of West Indian people from all over the place. That's right. It was a hard time, and not just England, but like Mike's mum's from Madeira or Portugal or wherever. A lot of people came to work in the UK because it was the opportunities were there. So
a lot of people were called over as well, weren't they, to help build the country, which a lot of people forget. It's
that's
not just immigrants coming over for the fun of it. It was actually like the UK asked for people to come from all these different countries.
They did. And I actually knew someone, a black man who was in the Air Force. Actually, he didn't fly, but he used to work as a mechanic. I can't remember which base it was, but I met a man called Roy who he said, "Yes, man, I love it. We come over in the 40s and we fix the aeroplane." Yeah, it was like amazing. I don't know. I was like, how did he survive? Like people probably not being nice to him, but then again, he was a man in uniform, and he never complained. He just got on with it, and I think that my parents kind of got on with it. Within my dad, right, he had a stutter, and the fact that Daddy had a stutter has probably helped me to do all that why stuff I do, and I'm going to get you.
Ask you about that. I was going to ask you.
But we're going to deal with that later. But Daddy had a stutter, and he was always saying to me want to go back to Jamaica. My mum was just, shut up, because my mum, she just knew that they were from, like, my dad was born and brought up in a place called St Catherine's in Brown's Hall. It's a parish outside of Kingston, if I'm right. And my mum was also from a parish outside of Kingston called St Andrews. And of course, everybody was sad, the local community. But when they did get here, they really made a life for themselves. My mum bought her first house within 5 years of being here.
Oh my God.
She used to live on Morden Street in Brixton, but she bought Gately Road. I grew up number 27 Gately Road, and it was the best community to grow up with, Apparently, I think you've got Stansfield Road, you've got Chantry, and then you've got Stansfield. That's where David Bowie grew up and was born. So I think he went to Stockwell Primary School. That's where I went, just round the corner from my home.
A lot of legends in that area.
Yes, John Major, I think, was a Brixtonian as well. So, I'm really proud of that heritage. It was very open. People were kind, and there was, your black people, white people. There was
a mix of cultures.
And a mix of. On my road, there was a mix of houses as well. There was very big houses where Kim Butler's dad lived at number 1. And he was a policeman at Brixton Police Station. Do you know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
there was a couple of teachers on my road from Stockholm Primary School. And it was one of those roads where, obviously some were family houses and some were already turned into flats or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And it was just, I can't obviously remember the 60s, but I remember the 70s.
Yeah.
And in the 70s, to get to the point of where the music started, actually, even as a kid in the 60s, my mum would play My Boy Lollipop, or you'd play reggae songs, Red, Red Wine, or you'd listen to Jimmy Cliff and the original Bob Marley stuff before the Wailers.
Yeah.
So you'd hear...
So they knew good music.
Really good music. And my mum, I'm really proud of it now. Maybe it's bad, but my mum used to have it like an illegal drinking party.
Why illegal?
Why illegal? Because you will sell the drinks in a little...
Oh.
And you pour it out of the kettle or something. My mum would say, yes, I'm going to make a party and move all the furniture. And then that's how we got to know all the sound systems that were in Brixton at the time.
Oh,
and now I can't recall all of them. But, like sound systems went on to be like Massive Attack and, I don't know, Sir Coxon, is it Lloyd, King Tubby? It goes on and on and on. I can't remember all the sound systems, but they definitely, my mum, they were like the little superstars.
An atmosphere on the street with all those different people. Yeah,
they were the superstars in the area when it came to providing the music. Wow. So King Tubby Hi-Fi used to come and play at our house, and my mum would... that was in the days of Long Life Beer, and the little kids are all upstairs jumping on the aunties' coats. But my mum would be having a party, and you'd hear them all singing, wonderful world, beautiful. Amazing. And they'd be dancing up the place. And that's how my mum used to make some extra money to go on to actually buy her house. So once she bought a house, she used to try and help people to buy their own houses.
Oh wow, that's amazing. Like, teach them like business ideas, or just teach them how to save money, things like that.
Oh, that's really nice to ask that. What my mum used to do, she had a lot of business acumen. She had a lot of, mover and shaker, vibe about her. And once she bought her house, obviously it's a family. It was a 5-bed house, but we're not living in it. We're in one room, another family's in one room, and so on and so forth.
Because she looks after people like that.
Yeah, because that way you could help. You could help people that way. You could help people when they arrive to the UK to, settle in and give them a roof over their heads. Yeah. And that's how my mum did it. And eventually she started to... Back then, they used to call it a partner. I don't know if it's still running, but everybody used to put their £10 in. Say there's 10 of us putting £10 in, then you're going to get the £100 that week. Yeah. Then the next person's going to get the £100 that week. And that's how my mom helped people to invest, get a deposit together to help people buy their own homes. And my mum used to encourage all my aunts and uncles, and they said, no, we're going back to Jamaica. But my mum said, well, you got children here now, them going to school, you should provide for something over your head. And my mum would badger them until they said, Lord have mercy, Miss Brown, she's bothering me. I'm by the horse now, in Brixton or Tooting or Clapham or wherever it was. Yeah. My mum definitely encouraged people to buy the accommodation where they were living. It wasn't about buying up the property because, you've arrived and whatever. It was about having a little bit of, your home is your home. Yeah. And when you sell it up to go back to Jamaica, then you've got a nice bit of money to show for all your hard work in England. So my mum went into nursing. Yeah. My dad was a carpenter.
Oh, lovely.
Like a lot of people, like the mum's a nurse and the dad was a bus driver or whatever. And I used to go to church with my mum. I was in the Brownies at Stockwell Congregation Church, you know. I was called
Ooh.
Brownie, the Brownie in the Brownies, right?
The brownie, the brownie.
Right. And I remember that. And, you know, my mum's voice would be like ringing over everybody else's. And I used to like look at her
Oh, so
think,
your mum sings as well, does she?
yeah. So my mum used to
Okay.
sing in church in Jamaica
Okay.
when she was a young woman, and she had a very reverberating, powerful voice. And obviously that's where I got it. But I
Yeah.
used to look at her and think, oh, she's really good, because she'd be going, oh, praise the Lord. La, la, la. You remember
Yeah.
I suppose like we're not very religious anymore, but you know, it's like she's like, morning has broken like their first It'd be mixing with that Jamaican
Wow.
accent, you know what I
Did
mean?
you hear that, guys?
And I used to be looking at her, even at the assemblies at school, like,
She's all right,
wow,
isn't
she's incredible.
she?
And people used to come up to her after and say, oh, Mrs. Brown, we're so glad you was singing nice and low at the funeral. You get
Oh,
everybody else to, you know, my mum would get everybody else to join in. And I saw what a cornerstone she was to a lot of people in
yeah.
Brixton. I saw that. My dad, you know, mum was an Aquarian, dad, Scorpio. He's like, grouchy. And he's like, not another party. No, no, you know, it's so different to my mum.
I know a lot of Scorpions, and they're very laid back. They're very like mysterious. They don't want to be around people too much. So I can imagine your dad was like, ah.
Yeah. And my mum was a social butterfly. She's like, yes, everybody come to my house and enjoy yourself, you know. And it's one of those houses where the kids are in and out, and my parents went on to foster and things like that. It's a
Oh,
very open, loving
yeah.
background is what I've come from. Parents that really
Oh,
wanted me and my brother. Do you know what I mean? They wanted children, and they couldn't have children when they were young
yeah.
because my mum had a blocked fallopian tube.
Oh, wow.
So once she came to England, they just give you a routine little,
Yeah.
I don't know, like
Sort it out.
a Hoover inside, and I think it was about 14 or 15 years after they were married, they had my brother Leon, and then they had me.
Oh,
So I've got two sisters,
I was
but
gonna say, yeah.
they're distant cousins of mine,
Okay.
and my mum got them out of the children's home because they weren't getting on with their dad, and
Yeah.
it's lovely because they grew up with me, so I call Erica and
Family.
Jerry my sisters. Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
They are
That's
my
so
sisters,
lovely.
and I adore them. So to get back to the singing thing, of course, by the time I went to school,
Yeah.
I was full of music, and I used
Yeah.
to get into so much trouble for it.
Oh, really? What
Yeah,
trouble?
because you're a nuisance. You're not learning the
I
maths. You're
see.
not
You're not
doing the stuff.
following the guidelines.
I'm
Got
singing all
it.
the songs of the day. I'm like, baby face, you got the cutest. And I'm singing guilty. You're guilty, guilty, guilty of love and the judge and the judge. I'm singing all these 60s, 70s, Diana Ross, you know, and the
Yeah.
teacher used to, especially in maths, I
Yeah.
weren't going to do double maths or whatever.
Double.
By secondary school, it was like, Brown, if I hear one more peep out of you, and of course I'd go, peep, like that, right outside. Like I remember, and it's always,
That's
it's,
the school system, though, isn't it? They've got a guideline and they have to follow, and if you're outside of that, you're bad.
it's always like, you know, I am sorry if I was a nuisance in your class and you're
No,
still
don't say
alive.
sorry for being you.
No, but
You're still alive.
you're still alive. I'm sorry, Mr. A-hole bloody
Teacher.
maths teacher. But I mean, I think people were a lot misunderstood back then. I mean, now
Yeah.
they've got they you know, they were prepared to say that you're behind or you're dunce because you had dyspraxia or dyslexia,
Yeah.
and you're seeing the letters
Yeah.
the wrong way around. The
Yeah.
way your brain showed it, saying,
Yeah.
right, you can't see A B C D. You're
Something wrong
stupid.
with
You
you.
you
Yeah.
you know. My brother was in a disabled children with learning disabilities school.
Mm-hmm.
And my mum fought to get him out, say there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with him. I think it was the system was like,
They just think that's what they do when they don't know what to do with kids who, learn differently.
yeah, that's right.
But can I just ask you though, when your mum and dad were having those house parties, where were you? What were you doing?
Right. So us kids would be upstairs. Well, what we'd do, we would go downstairs because I think there's a toilet on the top floor and there's the back then, you never had an ensuite. It was right on the bottom floor. So you'd
Yeah.
make an excuse and you'd go past all the uncles and aunties and you'd grab that baby sham, they're not looking, plonk it back down on the table, and then you'd go past and you'd see someone's got half a patty, half a Jamaican pie wrapped up in a serviette, and I love that. go, we used to go upstairs, but the kids are all upstairs jumping in it, jumping on all the aunties, all the aunties' fur coats, the fake coats, and we would. Of course, the music would be reverberating through the floorboards, and all my cousins would be there, and the older cousins would go, "Yeah, sit down. What are you lot doing?" You get the hierarchy of the bullying, a little bit of bullying going on there, and we were just being kids. We knew it was another chance for us to hang out. We knew that our mum and dads were all down the stairs, dancing to
having a good time.
Yeah, Nina Simone, my baby don't. And they'd be spinning each other's round. The men have got the pork pie hats two-tone, and the women had all the fishtail dresses and spangly. All my aunts and uncles, they were really into that big dancing parties my mum used to put on. My mum also used to do outings. She hired coaches and people would buy the tickets.
Oh, wow.
And you'd meet at Brixton Town Hall at 9 a.m. Of course, the coach didn't leave till 11. But, and we'd go to places like Dim Church. I mean, I've never ever been to Dim Church again. Broadstairs.
Dim Church?
I don't know. It's a seaside somewhere.
Oh,
yeah,
I see,
seaside.
right.
Broadstairs, Margate.
No, Margate.
Like your area, Southend.
Yeah.
We'd go to Southend. Is there Clacton?
Clacton-on-Sea, yeah.
I remember the little tickets saying, yes, we're having a trip to Clacton. And the people paid their money and they had their little food flask with their corned beef sandwich and their little flask with their hot tea. And my mum would have maybe 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 coaches.
Wow.
And they'd go in convoy and we'd go down my mum got people out of Brixton. She got them because there was a fear, safety in numbers.
Yeah.
So there was a fear of leaving, if the teddy boys are going to get you, or the people who don't like you are going to get you. So literally my mum used to organise these days out, and we all went to the seaside. We all look about. We did one up to Blackpool once.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, all the way to Blackpool. There's 6, 7 hours in the coach. And then on the way... No, it's not. On the way back, we stopped off in a big hall in Preston, and we had a massive party so people could dance and enjoy themselves, and we got back on the coach and came back to London. So, we did a lot of really interesting things, even though, my mum was very experimental, very, really... very out there for a woman of her age.
Yeah.
Because she was 42 when she had me.
Okay.
So by the time I was 10, she was 52. Yeah. Obviously. And it was, she was just doing all these innovative things.
Do you think she was just excited and taking advantage of the opportunities that she had that maybe she didn't have in Jamaica, and she was just like, you know what? I'm living my best life.
Yeah, actually, I think that she knew that she had a way of bringing people together.
Yeah.
She really knew that was her thing. Yeah, I'm going to make this vibrant. I'm going to put on a party. I'm going to, people would meet at her house, or people fall in love or whatever. It's that kind of, so people used to get married in my mum's house as well.
Really?
Yeah, they got married in a church, but they'd have the reception at our house. So they say, yes, we're married in Mrs. Broadhouse,
You're painting such a lovely picture. Your upbringing sounds amazing.
Yeah,
so I'm assuming you're inspired by your parents then to be happy and excited for life, because you always seem very, loving and kind and sweet. Do you think you
I think
got that from your parents?
I think so. I think my
Yeah.
mum was like not going to see someone go hungry. She's not going to do certain things. I mean, my dad would say, no, leave it. My mum said, no. You know, my mum would always, counteract him. And, my dad always wanted to go back to Jamaica. But I think once my mum had children, when me and Leon were born and we were going to Stockwell Primary School, it was like, no, I've got children. And then I remember my aunt Mimi and Boise and Ricky, they went back to Jamaica, but they came back, they just said they weren't happy. It was a bit too rough. It was a bit too violent for them because the country had changed quite a lot by the time they went back there. So, my parents thought that settling the little Brit kids was going to be difficult. And me and Leon did go there as children and we did enjoy it. But we were really like, why are the roads dusty? We were really Brit kids. Why is there not an inside toilet? Why do we have to, little things, and how them, felt like the flies and the spiders and the ants and
Too much.
the rats were, everything was just, it was
Not for you.
It was a foreign country and so hot as well.
Yeah, I know.
But we had the best time, and we made a lot of friends. And of course, we met up with my mum had a sister called Lucy, and all Lucy's children, my Aunt Lou's children, were all there. And her by then, because my mum had children late, but Lucy had children in her 20s.
Oh, wow,
so she was. Her daughters were grown, and they were having to. So it was interesting going there as a child and seeing where my mum came from and everything. But we were really like fish fingers and baked bean kids.
You're proper British by then.
We were, and we saw that we had two cultures. We see that we're, is it Heinz beans, Mum? Shut up, I eat it. It's very nice. And my mum actually got us to eat Ackies, but she said they were scrambled eggs. But so we ate them up, Ackies. So, but if we knew it was Ackie, we would go, no, we don't want it, don't want it. Yeah, so there was that culture thing going on. But my parents, both of them, were really well respected. And actually, when my mum passed away, it's tough because it's her birthday in a couple of days' time. But Dad's funeral a bit quieter, but my mum's funeral, like, I don't know, 700-800 people, just to show their respect, just to say, I remember when I come to England, or I went to Mrs. Brown's house and I got fed and I got looked after and I had somewhere to live when I was homeless. And, so I saw that. I saw the amount of people that came to, really old people as well, who travelled far because they knew we was having a leaving do for her. So
that sounds so amazing, and it sounds like they had the connection that we are sort of slowly losing in this day and age. Everyone's like sticks to themselves, but your mum and your parents were like, everybody, let's get together, let's do stuff. Where everyone's a bit more now like, oh, I'm on my phone, or don't talk to me.
I know, I know, because of today's generation, it does do that. I mean, I spend a lot of time on my phone, but obviously I'm working on the phone, but you are looking at it and it disengages, and you've got to do your socials. And if you're not doing your socials, sometimes you're looking out for emails because promoters email you and so on and so forth. I mean, it was a different time. You had to get on the phone to actually talk. Back then, and my mum would spend a lot of time on the phone. So anyway, I'll talk about that later when I was on Top of the Pops and all the aunts were bringing up.
So what about, did your parents get to see you on stage and singing and performing? Did they get to see the Angie Brown that we know now?
Definitely, because as I was saying, when I was a little girl, I started to sing at school a bit more. Do you know, like, can you imagine me? I'm going to audition for Oliver, the little tubby black child. Oh, you know what I mean? Who hasn't, he don't look hungry or anything, actually.
Oh.
But I was still, they still let me be one of the workhouse boys, which was, Terry Albert, be back soon. With the silly hat on and and the black tattoo.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, what? And you're fully in love with Nancy, ain't ya? And all of that. Yeah, I did that, and I did various things at school, and
Theatre stuff at school.
Sorry.
Theatre stuff at school.
Yeah, definitely. And that's where I got the taste for it. And we used to watch a talent competition called Opportunity Knocks. I swear it was on like every Monday or Wednesday. It was a feel good weekday show.
Yeah.
And when they had this clapometer, and you had to clap. The studio audience had to clap for the act that they wanted to go through. And I think I was about 10 or 11, and I saw this little girl that was on there tearing it up. She was from Scotland, and her name was Lena Zavaroni.
Ooh,
and she was
fancy.
Tiny, and she had this excuse me, she had this blues voice. She was like, Mama, he's making eyes at me. Oh, Mama. And I thought, she can't be singing that. And I remember thinking, wow, she's like the equivalent of Tom Jones, because I used to really like Tom Jones, Diana Ross, Stevie Wonder, all of them. I said, if it was music, I was glued to it. Anyway, this little girl, she was tearing it up on TV. And I said, I want to do what she's doing. Yeah. I want to. And obviously I was, she went on, Lena Zavaroni won. She went on to meet the Pope, sing with Frank Sinatra, all of these things. I thought, right, I want to do that. I want to do that. Yeah. So I said to my mum, I do. I want to, you associate singing with fame. You don't associate singing with, when you're little, when you're smaller. You associate it with, being on TV and being on the radio. I didn't really think about it, what else singing actually evokes, how it can heal people, and you can sing to people in hospitals and pubs, and you can have, just singing for a living is just what took over for me more than being famous. But at the time I said, Mum, I want to do what she's doing. And my mum was trying to convince me not to do it, because she said she wanted me to be a nurse. So she said, it's a rat race world. And I didn't really understand. I mean, now that we can see so much going on in Hollywood or whatever, it's very easy to see what she meant by it's a rat-based world. It is like casting couch is what she meant. And sometimes you would, that producer would coerce you into doing something that you didn't want to do, but he or she is gonna up your career. So my mum was trying to convince me. I said, no, I love it. I love it. So she said, all right, I'll support you. I'll take you to some of those talent competitions. They used to, in pubs, they have a little talent competition. You can win £100 or £50 or whatever it was. So we used to do those. And one year my mum was taking the foster children. By the time my sister and my two sisters and my brother had grown up and left home, we moved out of Brixton and we moved to Penge, which is on the outskirts of Crystal Palace. And my mum had a big 5-bedroom house on Croydon Road. And it was, what was I, 14, 15, I still wasn't driving yet. So my mum was driving me to various competitions. And one year we took the foster children, some of the younger ones my mum was obviously looking after. We took them to Butlins. So Butlins in Skegness. So when I was there, I think I was 16, on a Thursday morning, they said to people to come in the big theatre and audition for the show later on that night. So my mum said, come on, let's go and have a look. Let's go. So we went and we sat there. People were singing, isn't it rich? Are we afraid? And all of that stuff. And they've got their music and their dots and their whatever. Me, I think they call their music, they call it dots, don't they? And you've got your manuscript.
Music theory,
yeah. And I was like, I ain't got any of that. My mama said, why don't you get up? I was like, no, Mom. She was like, yes, go on, do it. And I said, but what can I sing? So I thought, like back then, Boney M was still massive anyway, but Boney M were super massive, and they couldn't do anything wrong in the 70s as far as the British charts were concerned. And they're doing all that stuff. And I got up and I said to the pianist, do you think you could just kind of play Brown Girl in the Ring? Because it's really easy. And they said, yeah. So I
Brown
said,
girl in the ring.
yeah,
Sha-la-la-la-la. Yeah.
she looks like it. And
Yeah.
so I did that, and everyone clapped, and the man said, yes, you got through. So later on tonight, come back here, backstage, Angie Brown, at whatever time, let's say it was 7:30, and we do that.
Doesn't matter.
Well, the funny thing is, it was like about 2,000 or 3,000 people out there. It was a huge theatre with all
Wow.
the people. Da, 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 da. Yes, tonight we have, for you. And so
Wow.
I won the talent competition.
Oh,
I
you
think
did?
I
Well
come
done.
joint first with another lady, but they couldn't decide who was going to be the winner. And that filtered down to it went in the local press, and by the time I got home, everyone in Pension, Beckenham, and Annalee
Really?
knew about it. Yes, we see it in the local paper. So
Woo!
I just swear to God. So they saw it in the local press. So once I got back to London, I said, right, I'm going to. It was like a heat where you could go on to the next one and the next
Yeah.
one, and then you win a recording contract and
Yeah.
£1,000, lots of money back then. But in that interim, I found my singing teacher Nettie. So I got to tell you about Nettie.
Yeah.
Now Nettie Batam, she is Anglo-French. I think she's eccentric, but she doesn't think she is. But she's wonderful, expressive.
Yeah.
She used to do ballet,
Yeah.
and she was one of Maria Callas's singers that used to be on the road with Maria Callas. Now, Maria Callas, for those of you who don't know, was one of the she was the Tom Jones of the opera world, easily. She was well known, well loved. She was a superstar of the opera world, and Nettie designed her own singing techniques, which she was
Oh, cool.
which she was. Well, she worked out that it was all
From the
in the
diaphragm.
abdomen, because that's where all our strong muscles are. If you want to get any singing technique out of what I'm saying, there's no strong muscles here. This is
Yeah.
just a piece of skin. So to get the strength, you need to rely on the body and you bypass this bit and out.
Yeah.
That's how it's done. And when people say, "Oh yeah, you sing from here," I was like, "Well, how's that done?" Because
Yeah.
obviously I'm pushing here.
Yeah, that's what happens when you first get into it. You're all up there, you're like, yeah.
I know, and you
get down
think
there, you're like, oh.
it's a revelation, isn't it? And so was this woman playing the piano, and see what my voice is like. And I was really shy. And I went to Nettie's house. She lived in Clapham, and it's the first time that I've walked in anybody's house, and they had a huge grand piano in their lounge, just sitting down, cool. I was like, rock steady, boy.
Wow.
And the floor to ceiling were books.
Oh, wow.
And some of the books were covered in the same paper as the wallpaper. And I was like, who does this? Who does it? And in the kitchen, I remember she had the round cheese. I thought,
Wow. She's proper.
she don't shop in Tesco in Brixton, does she? She don't. But then I don't remember the cheese with the fruit or anything. I just remember cheddar cheese.
Yeah.
And so she had all these breads and brioche. Do you know,
I'm
like,
just imagining your little young self with your little face going,
yeah, because there was only sun-blessed bread and white bread. Nobody ate brown bread. It was, you went for the white bread with some stalk margarine. Stalk margarine, man. That was posh, man. That because I'm from a very working class background.
it's lovely.
So to go to this lady's house,
Yeah.
and then she's got books and books and books about musicians, about Jacques Brel and Edith Piaf and this one and that one. And I thought, what the heck? What the Gershwin and whatever. And she was like, hello. And
Yeah.
I thought, she is posh. She is, oh my God. And my voice, you know how your voice, when you're auditioning, you try to swallow your own saliva.
Yeah.
And she said, "What can you do? What songs do you know?" "I don't know any song." I said, and my mum was literally looking through the Guardian like she would never read the Guardian, right? And she was looking at it upside down. Do you know what I mean? She weren't really looking at it. She said, and there was this love.
Sorry.
No, it's nice that you laugh. And Nettie, she's always had that sophisticated hair in a bun style. You know, she
Yeah.
always had that, and she would start twinkling away and say, "Right, what do you know? I don't know anything." Okay, so she would try to you do the, I don't know, like many men, many men, many men,
Yeah.
and it was very what I would call Julie Andrews singing. It's
Okay.
very clean,
Yeah.
and that kind of singing opens up your voice,
Yeah.
and it puts no stress on. You're not adapting your voice to sound like church or sound bluesy or soulful or anything. It's just a pure sound. And
Yeah.
you'd go, hey, he, ha. And I'd go, ooh, ooh, and I couldn't hit the. And she said, "Don't, my darling, don't strain. Don't try to overreach. We will work with it." And so we just say, hey, he, ha. But it's very, 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 very like down on the hill, really like clean. Yeah. And the many men, many men, many men, many men, many men. And I really enjoyed singing with her. But I didn't understand why I thought we would get cracking onto a song. And she was like, no, 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 for your range to grow, you need to do these
These exercises,
exercises
yeah.
every week.
Did you do them every week?
My brother took the living piss out of me every week saying,
Oh.
"Angie, you haven't learned anything.
Oh,
You're just you're just on the same old me, 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 me." You go, "Yeah, man, mum and dad are wasting up their money, guys, wasting."
Oh.
Because I didn't know. I was just like, many men, many men, many men, and you were many men, many, and you work your way up the ding, 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 and you get higher and faster and better and more fluent
Yeah.
at singing. But unless you listen to an old cassette of your first few lessons,
Yeah.
I could hear that my voice was really opening up, really flying through the rafters, sounding so good. Anyway, so what happened was I started seeing Nettie, and I sort of interwove that with the rest of school.
Yeah.
2 years of college at Southwark College, where my son Charlie goes
Oh, I
now.
went to Southwark College. I went in
Yeah.
Bermondsey though. Did you go
Oh,
to the
did
Bermondsey
you?
one?
I went to the one at the Cut
Oh,
in
okay.
Waterloo. I went there for 2 years.
Okay,
Yeah, to
yeah.
do English and maths O level because I think they take O levels naturally or automatically at school now, I think.
Yeah.
But back then you had to do a CSE or GCSE and then you took the O
Something
level.
like that, yeah.
Anyway, I can't remember everything about school because it was years ago. But anyway, I didn't pass my GCSEs, especially not maths. And I didn't pass in English because I wasn't concentrating.
Yeah.
I needed to go to Saturday school where it was drama or ballet. I mean, you would have never got a black girl
Yeah.
in ballet. I would have probably seriously got bullied, being the only black one and not looking with the ironing board.
Yeah,
It would be
sexy.
all, fat bum, round bum, vibration, and I just,
Vibrations.
and it's so fun. Yeah, when I say vibe, I always say vibration, but it's funny because Italia Conte, which
Yeah.
is one of the top drama schools, was literally round a corner in Landor Road from me where I lived in Brixton. Anyway, the long and short of it is my parents would have never had the money for us
Yeah.
to go to anything like that.
Yeah.
My mum had extra jobs cleaning. She obviously was a landlady, but she still had home craft things. We needed to match up all the buttons and then put them in a certain thing and give that back to the factory or whatever. We had all these these little take home cottage industry jobs. So yeah, basically after I started going to Nettie's, I went to college and then I got into a private drama school called St. Catherine's,
Wow.
and that was in Guildford. So I really liked it there. I've got some friends that I met there 40 odd years ago and we're still friends today. So they were real salt of the earth people. But once I left drama school, it was a 2-year course.
Okay.
I only went for a year because I didn't like it.
I was going to say, did you enjoy it? What kind of things did they teach you in drama
Do you know,
school?
like, because I am an actress, but I'm not an
Was
actress
it a
first.
bit too blah, blah, blah?
Yeah, there's like, like if you had to do Shakespeare, it's like, eh. Do you know what I mean? And it's
of
all
course.
very, very serious.
Proper.
And, you know about the greats, like, Sir Oliver, whatever, and this one and that one, and the greats. And you think,
Theodore.
yeah, and you know that as a young black girl, you're not really going to get any work in the theatre. It wasn't like it is now, where there's lots of people of colour on adverts, or even they do that panto thing where I went to see, was it The Life and Times of Oliver Pepys or something? And it was based in London, but Oliver Pepys was that beautiful Indian guy. It was played by, it was about the actors and not the colour of the actors.
Yeah.
And there was a gorgeous Chinese actress in it, and she was the mother of this child or whatever. It was basically all the historical characters about Samuel. Is it Samuel Pepys who wrote about London? I hope I've got the right person anyway. But basically, you know what I'm saying. These days, they will cast you because you're powerful at what you do.
Yeah.
There was no Hamilton. There was no, like Les Mis. You had Sean Escoffier in Les Mis, and he got the part because he was great. And back then they would never do that. So when I left the drama school, I didn't like it because I found it pretentious.
Yeah.
And there was the first time I was really out of South London, and everyone seemed to, and I just, I must admit that my kind of barriers came down. It's like, I don't like this. But I did like my family that I was living with. I was living with the Heatons out in Dunstable Common, and you'd see the deer running up and down. You ain't seeing Angel Estate, you're seeing the deer, you're seeing you fall down, you get, I got all nettles, and it was a different life. It was the country life. It was lovely, but I'm a real city girl. So I didn't like drama school. I thought that the lady that was running the whole thing, I just found her just too full of self-importance.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not one of your favourites, so you're not going to promote me. You're not going to give me a good recommendation. Should a theatre company be interested in hiring me? Because you needed to get in with a company before you could get an equity card. So you needed an equity card to get a professional job, but you can't get the professional job without the equity card. Yeah. So that's why I started singing even more, because I used to try and get my equity card and say that I was singing in the pubs, like, how long has this been going? And everybody do the locomotion, yay. I was doing all this stuff in pubs. And I just had that realisation that I'm not an actress.
Yeah.
I'm a singer. I love singing. So from there, I got the Melody Maker, and there was another music press. I don't know if it's still around.
What did it feel like? So when you really had that moment of realising, I'm a singer. That's who I am. I'm a singer.
Well, you know what as well, Jazz? There was no work for black actors and actresses. So there's a lot of people out of work in that industry anyway. And what I found with the singing, there's a pub in every corner.
Yeah, on every corner.
There's a pub in every corner, right? And that was just not so long after that the karaoke thing came in, and there's work for everybody.
Yeah.
Singing whatever song, wherever. You got the karaoke machine, or you work for a company that provides the machine, and then, I could drive by then.
What was your go-to karaoke song?
And let me think. Was it Ain't Nobody?
Okay.
Ain't Nobody. But I remember prior to Nettie, I would have been, that high bit in, it's the bit where da-da-da-da, and a little bit we cannot measure, would go like that. After Nettie, it was measure. Woo! It was after after going to Nettie,
Yeah.
she took the pressure off and she said, the high notes are low and the low notes are high.
Yeah.
So if you imagine when I was at Stockwell Primary School, morning has brought, oh, you're doing that for the high.
The head movement as well.
You're doing that up and down thing.
I
Once
can
Nettie
relate
taught
so
me,
much.
it's like, no, your head doesn't denote, that placement doesn't say what note you're singing.
Yeah.
It's all a straight note.
Yeah.
If you take the anxiety of going higher, then
Yeah.
you can get high without straining.
Yeah.
And at the beginning, I didn't believe her. I thought,
Yeah.
she's talking doo-doo.
Yeah.
But then,
Bit of practice.
bit of practice. And this is going to lead me on to when I started playing live in London, right? Because there was all these places in the late 80s, early 90s, the open mic nights, right? And I used to go to Singers. And Singers was where I met a whole bunch of people, amazing people, lots of people like Catherine Ellis, just loads of Meryl, Julie.
Meryl was in Meryl Streep.
Yeah, no, Meryl Streep, no. Meryl Forbes.
Oh, right.
Meryl Forbes,
Is that her name,
Isabel, Stacey, Zoe Wainwright. I just met all these. I met Bev Skeets.
Yeah.
She does sessions, and they were all doing, Climby Fisher on the 80s band, da, 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 and Yaz, The Only Way's Up, and all of that. They were the professionals going out on the big tours.
Wow, okay.
And this very slightly older, but I started to go to these clubs and show my face, and that's when I actually changed my name.
How old were you by this time?
I must have been when I started singing professionally. I would say I was about 25.
Okay.
Because I did quite a few London bands.
Yeah.
I was in Tunji, which is like a world band, and everybody dancing, and you play at the Africa Centre. Then I was in a rock band. I was in the Dirty Strangers with where I worked with Keith Richards, Ronnie Wood. That opened a lot of doors. I was in EK1 it's a soul band in the 80s doing, all the Luther Vandross covers. And
so when you were going to the clubs, how old were you?
Yeah, this is in my early 20s. So this is between 25 and 27.
Okay.
I was doing all of this, when it's like all the soul bands. I don't have this up. I got hey, doing all the,
Oh, sorry, what was you going to say? You said, and that's when you changed your name.
Yeah, I changed my name because some people were still calling me Angela.
Okay.
Angela Brown, and I thought, no,
it hasn't got a ring
just got to cut it down to Angie Brown.
Yeah.
So when I went to Singers, I used to introduce myself. Hi, I'm Angie Brown. Like they should. Hi, Angie Brown. Like they've heard of me, but I noticed that everybody did it there. Oh, you're Zoe Wainwright. You're Phil Bent. You're this one. You're that. You're you're Isabel Roberts. You're blah blah blah. So I thought, this is how it's got a ring for me. Yeah. And so this was 1992 now. Okay. So this was like I was firmly in. I mean, I wasn't really backing vocal fodder.
Yeah, because I saw that you did backing vocals for Grace Jones.
Yeah,
Shaka Khan.
Yeah, very. I'll explain. I'll explain. What it was with Grace Jones, I was in a band, a BBC Windrush band. I was in the house band, so our MD was Courtney Pine. And it was a variety show, so that's how I got to work with a whole bunch of people at one time. And if you ever look back, I think it was the 50th anniversary of the Windrush, and it was Grace Jones came on with a big ship on her head. Looking really like a beautiful, beautiful panther. And it's funny because I was talking to some of the other members of the house band, and we were all laughing when she walked through and she looked around at us. And she came up like she said, "What you laughing at?" So I said, sorry, Grace, but I was just reminding some of these people about when you were on the TV with Russell Harty. And that you beat him. So she went, ha, ha, ha. I should have licked him harder. That's what she said, because she was being, and he, because she thought he wasn't listening, she was hitting him.
Oh.
And it's a famous thing. I mean, it was a great show because Desmond Dekker was on it, Prince Buster, Shola Amma, Willard White, just Roland Gift, everybody, and everybody was on that show. So I started doing things like that where I said I wasn't backing vocal fodder, but I was a backing vocalist in that circumstance, but I wasn't really getting all the sessions and things like that went out on the records. I was getting more lives, more featured, and I went on to be in Heaven 17 for 9 years, doing all the, Billy would do higher and higher, Temptation, all of those songs, and Glenn and Martin and Ian at the beginning. It was just amazing. I really liked working with those people, and doing the backing vocals, it teaches you a lot of discipline. I mean, it isn't your show. People are here to watch them. But the nice thing about it, because I knew I wasn't a backing vocal, just standing there going doobie doobie doo, I'm definitely, they had to give me a part where I could just let rip and shine. And that's what Glenn and Martin did. They were like, go out there, Angie. With me and Billy, we'd get in a huddle and we'd give each other a big hug. And this would be like at Wembley. And it would be like a tour, the 80s tour, Here and Now. Yeah. So, I don't know, Kim Wilde would be on it. And my man, Kim, what's his name, on his Coconuts. And I don't know, Howard Jones and China Crisis. So there's lots of 80s acts on even Culture Club did it one year.
Wow, okay.
So you're playing Wembley and you go out there and there's a lot of people. And
Wembley Arena or Stadium was the first place
it was Wembley Arena was one of the we played all the stadiums starting up, I think in Newcastle coming right down. And we even played Bournemouth BIC, we played all of the so-called big stadiums with the Here and Now tour. And I was a backing vocalist for Heaven 17. And they gave me and Billy a lot of scope to go out there. You see, like Heaven 17 for me, in my eyes, they were like one of the first sort of innovators of house as far as the British side of house, obviously.
Yeah.
But it sounded really robotic, some of the being boiled, that kind of 80s. I used to say to Glenn, I don't like this one. I don't like it. But the actual, when you listen to Temptation and how it kind of, I don't know, the feel of Temptation is really, really exciting. So I think, if I remember rightly, Martin Ware, he did an extended version.
Okay.
So me and Billy would go out, and Glenn would go back and get changed into this Oswald Boateng suit, but he's had all this beginning, and me and Billy would be singing a little bit of, higher and higher, and Billy would go, love energy, and I'd go, music can be such a revelation. It was like we would be playing with the music.
With the
and we'd build it up for when at some point, and it's so funny, you could see the people wanted to get up in the whole stadium, but Mr. Man with the pointy high visor, sit down.
Oh, you weren't allowed to stand up?
Yeah. Because the set that the boys are playing is a bit, robotic. Until we get to Temptation, we got to Temptation. When we got to Temptation, it was a different ball game. So by the time me and Billy had warmed it up and the audience were clapping, they still weren't up yet. I tell you, when the lights would go down and it would go, dum, 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 I've never been closer. And the lights would come on Glenn. And everybody went, stand up. And I say, that's right, Wembley. Stand up for the forefathers of house music. Come on, like that. Yeah, like that. I mean, I know, obviously Martin Ware didn't do house first because that came from Chicago, but he was very innovative. He was working with Terence Trent D'Arby. He did they literally brought back Tina Turner and did that Private Dancer album. They
Yeah.
My Way even gets a mention in the stage show because they said, oh, we've got this synthesizer and we can do this and we can do that, and they were young with the flicky 80s hair, and they, you know, it's well documented that they were in the right place at the right time to actually revive Tina Turner's career. So yeah, they're
That's
great guys.
amazing.
So yeah, so working with them
Yeah.
was amazing. But I went on to just be making sure that I had a foot in the door.
Yeah.
By then I'd done I'm Gonna Get You, actually.
Yeah.
So we need to go back a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
basically I did Singers one night.
Yeah.
Some talent scouts used to be coming down every week, and I was up there doing R-E-S-P-C-T, doing all my reefer, and someone, I got this phone call saying, Angie Brown, can you sing like Jocelyn Brown?
Oh.
And I thought, eh, what do I do? Do I tell? I can't sing like Jocelyn. Who can sing like Jocelyn? I'm from England. Not no. I ain't no American person with the chest voice reverb. You know, when they go, ha!
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, ha!
yeah.
There's a go, hey, girl! And you see it, and it's all here, and we're going, honey, and it's all throat.
Yeah. And that's just them talking. Hey! So,
And so, there's a go, Angie! Justin goes, Angie, you my boo, you know that girl, don't you? And it's all here, and you're listening, huh? You know, sometimes I'd be the only Brit. And it was like Kim Versal and a diva, and this one, and this one, and this one, and this one. I nearly said Adele, not Adele though, a diva.
Yeah.
And there would be all the American girls, and I'd be there as the Brit. But anyway, the thing is that they said, can you sing like Jocelyn? And I the only thing that saved me was maybe a month before, I did an advert. And it was for McDonald's and what it was, the top half of the screen didn't match the bottom half, and the voices coming out of the people didn't match.
I see.
So there was this little tiny blonde, and her image was matched with my voice for McDonald's, and it was a campaign where you know, you choose whatever burger you wanted, you know. So I knew that when I went to the session, I could just about do it very quickly, not too long on the voice. You know, I said to them, I'm literally you need to get this like straight away, guys. And so I remember going from drama school, if you've got the wig or the character clothes or the shoes, sometimes it could help you get into the character. So I knew that I had to do it. And they taught me the part, and it went like this. So walk that walk to old McDonald's now.
Whoa.
Right. And I was really pleased with myself. And I remember Noel going, Ange, that's a wrap. We got it. And I'm like, yeah. Yeah, because, you know, my natural singing voice is quite Lulu-esque. It's quite, you know, it's right here. Yeah. Everybody is there. Right. Yeah. Anyway, the point is, when I got the phone call, can you sing like Jocelyn? I thought, but I kind of did it on the advert not too long ago. Maybe. But does that mean that I can sing it on a whole record? And I just said, when they was talking money and points and have you heard of Bazaring? I went, no, because I've been following house music.
Yeah.
You know, you're still into your R&B in it. and like, you know, and I used to like reggae as even, but I decided that there was no money in the reggae. So I just thought, no, I need to do a bit of rock. I need to be a pop, soul, jazz, blues, whatever. I need to put myself out there and try a little bit of everything. Yeah. And anyway, so when this opportunity came up to it with Bizarre Inc., I'd never heard of them. They had a track out.
This is I'm Gonna Get You?
Well, the year before they had Playing with Knives out.
Oh, yeah?
And Knives is like, gotta get up, got to feel the... Yeah.
I saw you performing that at Pride on a video. I wasn't there, unfortunately, but I thought...
It's so high and so...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a thing. And basically never heard of them, but they had Playing with Knives out the year before in 1991. It was 92, and I just thought, I don't care, I don't have anything to lose. Let me just go and audition anyway. So when they played me, okay, there was this sample. I'm sure the people from the 90s who can remember, there was like hundreds of people who used this bootleg. It was like a 12-inch single, and it had different cuts on it. It had the Ride on Time. It had this piece of music, that piece. I don't know exactly everything that they had on it because I wasn't even following house. But it had I'm Gonna Get You on there, and it had Jocelyn singing it. I can't remember if she wrote it, but she was definitely, it was Jocelyn's voice.
Yeah.
I think what's her name? Colondrio. And Antonia Colondrio. She wrote it with Jelly Bean. Anyway, the point is there was this 12-inch thing, and they said they put it on and go, do you think you could do this? And it went, wow, it's the time. I thought, oh, I can't do that. It sounds really high. It sounds really. So I said, and they said, it's only 4 lines. You got to go, why was your time? You know, you're going to be mine. You know, you're going to be mine. And then once we've got that, we can repeat it in the track, and you just got to sing it in a softer voice. Do that. I'm going to get you, baby. Yeah. And I thought, let me. Okay, I'm going to be getting paid, and I'm going to be getting points. And I thought, well, this is good. I'm going to be getting some points. And I said, you know, to the agent at the time that got me the job, I said, I want my name on the front. I want my name. It's got to have Bizarre Inc. featuring Angie Brown, because I thought, well, I'm going to, if this does anything, I wasn't expecting it to, but if it does anything, at least people are going to know who I am, and I can get other work out of it. Yeah. I mean, little did I know that the whole reason why the independents started was because independent record labels started because they were sick and tired of the majors.
Yeah, taking the piss out of them.
That's right. But then the little independents came along, the house and the garage lot, and they used to print up once they knew how to make it acetate, then and the vinyl, they did it for themselves, and they went round to the black market and this one and that one, Nicky Black Market down in Soho, Red Records in Brixton, and they sold it for themselves. Yeah. And it was a groove, and it wasn't dictated by the majors. Yeah. But unfortunately, which really saddens my heart, they did exactly what the majors do, which is rip off the artists. I think when the money starts to come in, people don't want to section it and have auditors come and look at it and say, right, that percentage goes to that person, that person. So I've never been paid for I'm Gonna Get You ever. Not for the performance and the sales side of it. Yeah. For the performance side, I would get, I don't know, PPL or whatever the royalties for the exploitation of my voice. Yeah. But the actual sales, when people went into Woolworths back then and bought it, or Virgin record shops, or HMV, or all of those record stores that you had in every high street, you should have earned some points from that. That's what I signed for. Yeah. I was supposed to be earning some points for the sales because I didn't think it was going to do anything. Yeah. So to get back to the day, I went in, put the cans on. Yeah. And I was singing at a wedding the next day, and I was really quite fronty with them. I said, look, I've got to preserve my voice. I can't be having it rough, because I was singing, You're All I Need to Get By. And that is a sing. Yeah. You know, you're all I need to get, you're all I need. And all of that is in it, goes from chest to, it's like,
that's a lot.
I can't sing in the church tomorrow. So I said, it was like, why waste your time? You know you're gonna be mine. And it was probably harder for me because I was singing it so long, it's easier now. But
and then just like the record, by the way. So nice.
and then I did the da-up bit. I did da-up, just jammed it, and then they put it into a da-up. And they said to me, oh, it's coming. That was like the July. They said it's out in September. Yeah. I did not give a monkeys. I just thought, I've heard this a million times. It's just coming out that.
The same stories over and over again. It's going to do big. It's going to do well. Watch out.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. He'll look after you. Yeah. Is it? Famous. Is it? No. It came out. And back then, I don't know about now, there's no exclusives going out. I think there's a DJ pack, and it probably goes out. They press a button and it goes out to everybody one time online. Back then, you'd make sure that My Man at Kiss had it. This one on the Capital Dance Show in the evening. It's not daytime radio. This one, that one, that one, that one. And it had been blowing up in the clubs as well. And back then as well, sorry to say back then, but there was a nightclub. Well, it seemed like it. Like there was a big nightclub on every high street.
Yeah.
Like the 3,000 people over the shopping mall.
Yeah.
Kind of nightclub.
Yeah.
And so there was somewhere to go in PA as well. So I'm Gonna Get You came out and it went straight in at number 17.
Wow.
So when it went straight in at number 17, I remember who rang me first.
I was going to
My
say,
friend
who told
Shaz.
you?
Shaz Rocket. He rang me and he goes, Ange, I was listening to the top 40 and you're in the top 4. I went, no.
Not me. He got
He
it
went, yeah,
wrong.
did you? He goes, he's a gorgeous black man, right? With a really rocky vibe to him. He goes, didn't you do a song? Anyway, I recognise that voice anyway. He was going, I said to him, now let me put the phone down and look, because that's the good thing about the internet and your phones. You can research all that.
Yeah.
I had to go and sort of like try and have a little listen to. You didn't even have a catch up, so I don't even know how I clarified it in any shape, way, or form. Because he'd heard it on the radio, so they'd already played it. So I think the next day, on the Monday, I think they had an official chart saying where everybody was, and I thought, oh, I am in the chart. And then we got a phone call saying you're doing Top of the Pops on Thursday.
Ooh. Oh my, how did that feel?
Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Oh, I'm getting chills thinking about it for you.
And my parents were alive.
Oh my God.
And they saw that. And then my mum's phone went off saying, Missy Angie on the television in our big high heel shoes and a floaty jacket or whatever. My parents were very proud. And my dad, bless him, sort of dads, the old school Jamaican dads, they're not up on technology. And my dad wanted to know. He said, well, how come you is on the television and using the room at the same time? I was like, Dad, I pre-recorded that at Elstree yesterday. He said, I saw it go. And then my aunts were ringing. My Auntie Ruby, Auntie Gwen, everybody ringing up. Yes, me proud of Angie. My mum was there saying, I'm very proud of her. She done the singing thing for about 10 years now.
Oh, wow.
She's been slugging away and she gets somewhere, because if I left drama school at 20, I was 27 when this happened.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but, in between that time, I made sandwiches for a living. I remember everyone at Westminster Tower, I used to go, I'm going to be a singer, and I'll be on my knees selling the cheese and ham or the bacon and avocado and the can of Coke, whatever. On a rainy day, no one's going out, and you were the little sandwich lady going round, and I'd
Did anyone believe you?
They got in touch when I was on Top of the Pops.
Oh.
They got in touch. They were so proud. That was the thing, though, Jazz. People were so proud. When the man that fixes your shoes, the person who does your dry cleaning, they're all, Angie, we know Angie. And they know how long I'd been saying, I'm a singer. And sometimes I'd lie and just say, I just do catering. I'm just tired of telling people that I am a singer. But when you do have a hit like that, you don't need to beat your chest and go, no, you don't need to. You don't need to explain anything to anybody, right? You don't need to deal with the jealous people as well. The jealous people who, whether they're family or friends, have said, why don't you get a decent job? No, this proves that my punt really really worked. It worked, in my favour. It's taken a long time to shut them up, but you needed to, it's nice to have some success, much less
so you can almost put your middle finger up to them as well. Like,
but I would never do that physically, though. I'd do it in my head, innit?
Fuck you.
And because it was such a big hit in America as well.
Oh my God, I didn't even think about America then for a second.
It's huge. Well, we were on the charts with Whitney, Prince, Madonna.
Wow.
I can't remember what Whitney tune was out, but I've got the Rolling Stones magazine, and we're in it, and we're in the dance chart as well. And they had a pop show called America's Biggest Pop Hits or whatever, and
He
with
was in there.
Casey, Casey Kasem. He was like, Tony Blackburn. He was like the
Okay.
Tony Blackburn of America. And he'd go, yeah, tonight we're going to have this one. And it would be on the television. It was just amazing. It was just amazing. And we went to America.
Yeah.
I met the most amazing people in America. It's the accent. They love the accent.
Yeah.
And that you're British and you say please and thank you. And they were like, hey, little lady, because everyone's really up there to me. And I'd be really like, the Oliver, can I have some more? Was like, can you play my record, please? And they'd go, I'd say, it's been a big hit in Europe and everything. They, okay, Andrew, we give it a listen. Like a Medem, like one of those, like going to a music conference place like ADE. So all the radio stations there, everyone's there, and they just went around saying, "Can you please play my record?"
Wow.
And then the next thing, it was all over the radio in America, all over. I remember I spent days ringing them. The record company came with loads of numbers.
You were doing this yourself, were you?
Yeah, the boys from Bazaar Inc. weren't interesting. They kept saying, we want to go home and be with our moms. And I was like, okay, you guys have obviously sold your mixtapes at college or school, and then you went on to get the deal. Well, I left college and I did the cleaning jobs, cleaning toilets, offices, working, in the Egg Box studio and singing with the reggae people, trying to make a few quid here and there, doing everything. So my success didn't, and joining several bands, my success didn't come till I was 27. So they're a lot younger than me. And it can't, to me, in my head, it feels like it kind of fell into their pockets.
Yeah.
So when this opportunity came, for me, I wasn't going to mess about with it.
Letting it go,
I remember I was there with Tom, and we went around the whole room talking to everybody. And the next day I was given a list and all the numbers. And because of the different time zones in America, you sometimes you'd go live on the radio, and sometimes you'd leave them a voice note. And when it was live, they would go, Angie, oh my God, where are you from, girl? And I go, I'm from London. And they're like, you could hear them like, no,
it's not possible.
Because there are black people outside of America and Africa, aren't there? And I was like, yeah, I lived in Brixton and not very far from the Queen's house. They would come up with some BS like that.
Yeah.
And I'd leave, and they said, could you do a little voice? Hi, when I'm in Chicago, I listen to WKAA. Can you please play my record? It's called I'm Gonna Get You, Baby. Okay, thank you. Just leave it. When I'm in America, I just got really slick at it. And they would.
Great.
But I was grateful that they were playing the record. I was grateful that people liked it.
Yeah, it's funny that it was just you that wanted to promote it, really, and push it. Any other people?
Actually, between us, Bazaar Inc., there was 3 of them. One of them got sacked, and the 2 that are still carrying the banner, they never, ever mention my name in interviews or anything. And they never give it any acknowledgement. All they say is that they made a lot of money. Obviously, the record company paid them, but everybody kept my money. But you know what? I'm like a thorn in their side, all of them, because I ain't gone away.
So what process are you? Are you in a process at the moment to help, recoup what you're owed? Are you doing anything like that? Are you letting it go?
Really, regarding I'm Gonna Get You and
I know there's a few, isn't there? And Move Your Body.
Yeah.
Which is a new one.
I will explain. Yeah, with I'm Gonna Get You, let's call it historical remunerations.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Actually, Jasmine, this is excellent because a lot of the vocalists are so cross about how we get treated within the dance industry.
Oh, tell me about it.
So there is a movement called Love Vocals. Love Vocals, started by Antonia Lucas. And she's a singer-songwriter herself. One time, I think she did a session where she was in that session and she worked with 6 different producers and she got £200 and she thought she was going to get paid a different £200 for every. No, she wrote 6 songs, 6 producers. Here's the money. And she felt. Yeah, she felt really ripped off. And that kept happening throughout her life. So She started the VSA, which is the Vocalists and Songwriters Alliance, but that didn't come off the ground for whatever. It was going to be a bit like a musicians union with subscriptions, whatever.
Yeah.
But in COVID, she realized that, wow, it's got to be a free thing for everybody where they can engage. So she came up with Love Vocals. Love Vocals is a hub, it's a platform, it's where all the singers, Ray, Kaylee Lee, everybody who's speaking out. Well, hang on, that DJ's playing us.
Yeah.
He's getting 100 grand, 150,
Yeah.
maybe even 500,000, whatever.
Yeah.
We're getting
Nothing.
2-3 grand, whatever the gig
Yeah.
is. And we are pissed with it. We're tired. We're not angry that we're going to try and, it's nothing
It's not
revengeful.
about hate. It's not about like, everybody's against me. It's just about, we know better now and we deserve this and
That's
we
right.
want it. We want what's ours.
We're educating the new people coming through. Before, like I said, as a kid or a young person, I didn't know what to ask for.
Yeah.
I didn't. I mean, I did Return of the Mac with Mark Morrison.
Yeah.
He was young. I think maybe he's about 5 years younger than me. I was 29 by the time I did it. It came out in 94. But I still didn't know much about the music industry. I needed management.
Yeah.
So if I'm doing 8 bars going, oh, Mark, you lied about your big, stop putting me down. And I'm on also on all the choruses and the yes, I do, return of the... I'm just in there to fatten up his vocal.
Yeah. But you're still in it. You're still on it. That's your voice.
And that's 8 bars. And if it was 8 bars with Snoop Dogg, he would be a featured vocalist. And of course, that song has gone on to make millions upon millions upon millions. And I will, I'm a writer on that song. And I, as I said before, I'm not cross with Mark.
Yeah.
This is circumstances. You didn't know that you should be hustling. You didn't know someone should have been speaking up for you. Or speak up for yourself, Angie, and say, I did those ad-libs on Bizarring. I did that, you're young and stupid.
And also it should, even though it sounds stupid, sounds quite harsh, but I do know what you mean, but it's also the record label's job to kind of let you know what you're owed as well a little bit, do you think?
I know,
Maybe
I think
it's not necessarily their job, but as, as a business... I know they're greedy and they're trying to look out for themselves, but it just thinks, where's the heart? You're a record label, you're doing it for music, you're doing it for
That's
love.
right.
You should have a bit of heart, not think about, get all the money for us and trick people with these contracts and these words and all that kind of shit.
I know.
At the time,
it is
didn't know
about the
better,
money.
But they should have said to you, look, maybe...
It's about the money because they know they're going to get the money or the management are going to get the money. The money's going to be divided. The money that I didn't get is going to be trickled down to whatever. It could be a royalties, people or whatever. There's pots and pots of millions sitting there with people, actors, singers, performers who have died. It still generates royalties.
It's so much money, just in the
ether
somewhere, just for artists. Even if it's like £200 or £10,000, I bet there's shitloads of money for artists out there,
and we don't know it's there. Exactly.
Yeah. And with all the labels as well that I've released on, I probably get about three like royalty statements regularly from all the record labels that I've worked with, and I think, hold on a minute, I've worked with loads of record labels. Why am I not getting accountants every quarterly? You just think.
And it says so in the contract that you can audit the books and you can, and they never do. They never
do it.
And it's only when you're older you realise that the record company is ripping you off, because even when I've had deals with majors, because I had a major record deal with the Doves. So I think it was East West. I think I've had a deal with East West and Mercury and maybe another one or two.
Are they under a Warner or Sony bracket?
I don't know. Do you know what? I need to, because we're talking about pre-house now.
Okay.
Right. I was with the Doves.
Yeah.
They were doing really well.
Yeah.
They were their music was on a TV show where Margaret Thatcher was there doing It's a Hit, It's a Miss. I think it was Swap Shop or something like that. Yeah. And once she said, I like these boys, because they had pudding bowl haircuts and they didn't look like something out of Mad Max. Yeah. And when she said that, their career went downhill. And so they were little cute rock band, with the 4 little jangly white boys with the little drain pipes. So, of course, this was the mid-'80s, and then the record company dropped them after Margaret Thatcher said that. So the record company would have turned around and said, well, anyway, this is the new sound, soul to soul.
Yeah.
And, you know, this one, Jamiroquai. I mean, Jamiroquai came late.
Jamiroquai.
You know, Mariah Carey, we got Mariah. You know, they're not going to deal with you, right? So
Yeah.
they reached out to me to come and do some work with them
Yeah.
as a backing vocalist. And then slowly but surely, I became the lead vocalist.
Yeah.
So there's a song called Beaten Up in Love Again. It's not, it's about emotional beating.
Okay.
But that got released. We got flown to LA. I met the people from East West, and I could physically see that they were really disappointed because they heard the voice and they thought that I was white. And when they met
you
me,
could sense that they were like,
yeah, you could tell that it was a marketing headache for them. It's a marketing. This was before Skunk and Nancy. This is Skunk and Nancy. This is like now you've got Aloe Black, you've got people of all colours doing rock, pop, country. It doesn't matter now because people just listen with their ears.
Yeah.
But back then, they were sort of like, they really dropped us. They dropped us and said, and they actually offered the boys something like £250,000 to change me from that band. And the boys said no.
Oh, well fucking done to them.
Yeah.
Jesus
and the good thing about those songs is those songs, we're going to retweak them and put them out. And it's me sounding really quite rocky and quite, not hard rock, pop rock, like
I think I know
Ava
what you
Max
mean.
stuff.
Okay,
It's great. It's great. And I was young and you can hear it, that the excitement. And there's a song called Beaten Up in Love Again. When it got released, it was Song of the Week on Radio 1. I remember that. But then it trickled away along with the deal and being dropped. But in South Africa, the South African people, if you're engaging, it's me singing that song. It's like, I'm beaten up in love again. It's really like, it's all, and we did it at Abbey Road with the Philharmonic Orchestra. We actually mixed it at Prince's studio in Paisley Park, Philadelphia. So you know they spent money on this album. And it never came out. And then I got into house and I forgot it. But some people have researched me. Some people have found me on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I can't read the comments without crying. I really cry.
I was going to say, I've looked at your videos on YouTube and just there's not one bad comment about you. Everyone's just like, love Angie, what a voice, love her, oh my God.
Oh, that's really nice.
It's always been lovely.
That's really, sorry that I burst out singing and
No,
with my big voice.
What were the comments that you saw on videos? Was it?
Well, one of them, the man said, when she opens up her voice, I had to hold onto the wall because he felt like he was so moved. It just makes me cry that music's been set in there and people didn't hear it because and some people found it. Some people was like, I've been searching for this song and it came on the radio when I was in a taxi in whatever, Joburg, and they can't Shazam it because this is before Shazam, sorry. Yeah. And I got the name and I looked it up on YouTube. And because it starts off with, the piano and voice and the I'm beaten up in love. It's here. But when it ends, it's and it was just like amazing music that's happened 35 years ago that we could have had all our lives. Yeah. But nothing happens before the time. Nothing happens before the time. Yeah. And before we run out of time, I must say about Own Boss, because Own Boss, okay.
Oh yeah, so this is Own Boss. I can't remember the other guy's name.
Savek,
that's it, and Move Your Body. Right, it's been a huge dance track that's had billions and billions and 3, 4, 5 billion streams. Is that right?
Yes, it has.
I'll let you tell the story.
Well, what it is, I had the publishers. So the publishers wanted me to work with various DJs around the world. So provide a sample pack. You don't have to be the artist on their works, but you will always remain the original composer. Okay. So
this wasn't like a royalty-free sample pack.
It once it wasn't royalty free. They
Yeah.
paid a license to have
Yeah.
it,
Okay.
but if that DJ producer wanted to use my voice and put it out as him, he could. But I am the composer. So
Yeah.
anyway, I did like 1,000 pieces of music.
Yeah.
Like
Wow.
some of
1,000
it were
pieces.
in the studio for the sample pack.
Okay, so it's
So
like
they
little
got
phrases and
yeah,
things.
they got a metronome doing the fall to the floor, and I'm going, yeah, and I'm going, ooh, yeah, move your body, and I did move your feet, step up to. And I thought that sounds funny. Move your feet, step up to the beat, got the and I did to move your body. I did it, and I sang different things. I sang everywhere, and leave me alone. Anything that I could think of, I sang it, and it got put out there as a sample pack. Anyway, 15 years later.
Oh, 15 years later.
Yeah, this is 15 years ago.
I thought
What
it was
happened? Someone heard the hook from the sample pack, which went, move your body, 2, 3, 4, move your body, like that.
Oh.
So someone said, that's Angie Brown. And Mikey saw it on TikTok, and he looked at it and said, Angie, this has had 1 million views. What is this? So we looked at it, and it was a sketch of these two girls in the office talking about watching RuPaul.
Oh, yeah, that was hilarious.
It's such a good sketch. So it's Mikey. Mikey said, well, if they've used that sample, who's used the other samples? Why don't we see how many other people have got that title out there?
Yeah.
So we found maybe about 30 or 40 people with that title, but they hadn't done anything on the Shazam. It was maybe 200, maybe 2,000.
But it was still your vocal.
Still my vocal being
wow.
used, still a bit of my sample pack. And I think it's lost in all these years, because when you're in the studio and you go, yeah, I've got these vocals, and you pass them on to the next person, it loses its thread of the original singer. So that's what happened. I don't think that they did it deliberately, but it don't matter because we've got lawyers onto it. The point was, Own Boss and Savek found that, used it, and it's a huge, 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 huge hit. And we only discovered it because we don't like foreign DJs in the UK. We don't. The man plays at Ministry when he's here. But when he's playing in Belgium, France, he's playing in front of 80, 100,000 people.
Wow.
He's playing at Tomorrowland, 200,000 people, whatever. So that's what I mean. We didn't know about it here so much. But when we found it on TikTok, we saw all the people dancing to it. We knew it was a huge hit. And when we Shazammed it, it had 4 million Shazams.
That's crazy.
We went in, Mikey, coming from that whole security investigative background, he just looked deep, researched it deep.
Oh, is that his background?
Yeah, he used to do corporate investigations.
Oh,
the teeth, the teeth in the bank. We're gonna catch him.
Nice.
And he looked at everything really finely, and that's how we discovered about Move Your Body. We're just like, it's won awards. It was the 4th most played song in the world last year.
Yeah, fuck.
It's just huge. And
the 4th most played song
in the world last
Sorry,
year.
I just want to make that very
the
clear.
big EDM song.
4th most played song of the year. That's just insane.
Tiesto, all of them play at Tomorrowland.
Yeah.
You see it. You see it everywhere. It's in a F1 game.
Wow. Wow.
I know. So, I mean, again, there's no aggression, but we have got our lawyers onto it. I'm not going in with you teeth my music because there is that discrepancy of what we paid for it or we used it. They're going to say.
From someone who said, oh, it's
that's
mine.
right.
I've had people use my vocals and like from acapellas that I've used years ago, and they're like, oh, they tell the record label that they paid for it. And I'm like, why are you putting that track out? I didn't say yes to it. It's my vocal. I never gave it to you. You never bought it. There's that. I understand what you're saying about that line. That gets
it gets
dismissed.
lost.
And people lie as well.
They do.
And people don't know what they're talking about. And they think, oh, it'll be all right. Yeah, I bought it. It's mine. Don't worry about it. So.
Yeah, but do you know the saying wherever there's a hit, there's a writ?
Yeah.
So I'm piping up going, hello.
Yeah.
On Own Boss's Insta saying, I'm your vocalist.
Yeah.
And he said, I'd like to do another track with you. And I thought, no, We ain't sorted out the first track
Oh, what
yet.
these guys?
Yeah. I did sort of go on there and wave at them occasionally, you know, and we are literally preparing to talk to their lawyers
Okay,
about
so they are
getting. Yeah, I mean,
communicating
they
back.
are. The thing is, I guess what the fight will be was like, why would the publishers tell me to go and give the song away? The publishers would be
Yeah.
cutting their own noses off.
Yeah.
But the sample company is saying, no, once they've bought the sample, it's sample free.
Yeah.
But my publishers are saying she's not the artist, but she remains the original composer.
Yeah.
And who cares? They've made millions and millions out of it. And even because of nowadays, and we're cheeky, I will remix my own and then say, sue me then.
Yeah.
Sue me. Really? Really? Because that is my voice. And you need to be, you guys are very comfortable.
Yeah.
Very comfortable.
Yeah.
You're going around in your private jet. You know, I'm still paying, you know, the poll tax people got in touch and, you didn't pay. Yeah, because we had Christmas. You know what I mean?
It's also funny as well how why the producer wouldn't want to find the vocalist. So, you know, if I was a producer and I had these vocals, I'd be like, who's that vocalist? I'd want to know who it is, whether it came from a sample pack or not. I just want to know some history. I'd want to know who I've got on my record.
I don't think so, actually, Jazz. I think sometimes they just hope that you've given up your job and you've gone back. You know, that's what Vinyl Solution, or who I signed with for Bazaar Inc., they just ignored me like I wasn't there, and they pretended they'd been liquidated as a business. But I see you still there in Portobello Road, and really,
well, I was saying you'd
you
hope
know,
that a producer would want that, but I know there are a lot of these producers that are just a bit selfish, and they think once they've got a vocal, they forget about the singer. They're like, oh, I've got the vocal now.
That's right,
and it's give a shit about anything else.
And look how many of them on Spotify say that they're the vocalist. I was like, you're not the vocalist. What the hell? You know, so actually that brings me back to Love Vocals. Love Vocals is trying to do something for vocalists.
Love Vocals, and is it like lovevocals.com?
Lovevocals.com.
Okay.
And it's even got a trauma room where you can go and speak to someone who's educated has been trained in counselling. You can get out your anger, your frustrations. You can connect with other singers. You can meet people doing management like me and Mikey.
Yeah. ABM. What's this?
Yeah. We're starting our own label called ABMM, and it's Angie Brown, Michael Moniz.
Oh, sorry, Angie Brown.
Music.
Angie Brown Music. So
Management.
Angie Brown Music Management, ABMM.
Or Michael Moniz. I mean, my name's now Angie Brown Moniz because we got married, me and Mikey.
When?
We got married a year after we met.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah, we got married.
Wait, so you were married when I
Yeah.
okay.
We were only coming up to our 3rd anniversary because we met in COVID, me and Mikey.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like a online romance kind of thing. But since Mikey's become my manager, my career has actually, like, somebody had to sit with me and sift through all the bands, all the sessions, all the things. Do you know what they found? Recently, someone who's a royalty collector found 5,000, not 500, but 5,000 separate pieces of music that I've done for people. Either, you know, it could be it could be a that, but they all can get money on. And he said he found 5,000. He listed it. He found it with your voice attached to it. There's 5,000. It's like, that's just been sitting there in the same, you know, royalty pothole, sitting there for waiting for collection. So I've got a good collection company now, and with Mikey's help and his love and his understanding, we're getting to the bottom of things.
That's so amazing.
And we're changing things for me.
That's so good.
Yeah, it's really exciting times for me.
Yeah.
You know, with my new single out on the 14th.
I will follow, yeah.
Yeah, I'll follow you.
With,
and then afterwards, we've got Troubles coming out.
Troubles, yeah. Okay, so tell me quickly, who's I follow with?
I Will Follow You is with Twism and Baral.
That's it, yeah.
Right? And it's a Unamas track, feel good, brilliant house music, easy going, sounds great on the radio. And Troubles is what, right, in the mid-90s, we had Moby. And Moby was that kind of music meister person whose music was used on the adverts, Guinness, this one, that one, big time. It's got that music, that, I don't know, serious musicians vibe behind it. And he, like Fatboy Slim, using that,
Sorry.
I got to praise you, is an old blues singer or an old gospel singer.
Yeah.
He found a singer called Vera Hall, and he used the "Ooh Lord, in my trouble so hard," and and I resung it as close as I could do to Vera, and that comes out, and that's a festival tune.
Yeah, that
Trust me, when I do them
yeah.
festivals, I'll be good. With Own Boss, I'll be saying,
With home boss.
bro, that is me. And I mean, we've even got a musicologist now.
I was going to say to you, you did mention about the musicologist. So the musicologist,
they will tell you where that sample come from. They will tell you where that snare, that beat. They're really up on their music, and they know. I mean, even if you had to run it through a computer, you would know someone's digital imprint.
like,
So
they'll know if you say this vocal's mine. They'll go, let me see, sing, test it. Yeah, it's hers. Is it like that?
do you know what? I mean, if you know my sound, you know my sound.
Yeah, of
right?
course, yeah.
And I worked for the Stereophonics, right?
You've done so much in your
I
career.
did the Stereophonics, but there's some oohs on. So Kelly's going, maybe tomorrow. And I'm going, ooh, ah, ooh, ooh, ah, ooh. The whole ooh, like that. Just doing that. It's going right through the track. And he said, so I don't get the royalties for it because he said it was him and it's not.
But is this something you're working on with?
The thing is, like, you can hear it's me because I've got my own little thumbprint. I've got my own sound.
Yeah.
And because I've got some my ducks in a row.
Yeah.
Because I've got lawyers now, because I've got Mikey, because I've got people in my corner.
Yeah.
Trust me, I'm gonna do what it says on the tin. I'm gonna get you. I am gonna get them. I will. I'm not. They want you to go away and sit in the corner, and they have all the money. They have all the wealth. They've got big houses wherever in the world and living a really nice life. And I'm still grafting.
Yeah.
I'm out there, every Saturday at the first. Come on, hey, holiday camps, moms, dads, everybody. Wow, come on. You know, I've worked so hard, but I know it's your journey. Nothing comes before the time.
Yeah.
Because I could have had that success with the Doves back in the late 80s. Where would I be now? I might be dead in a ditch somewhere.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
Right? I could be, but I'm still alive.
Yeah.
Still well. The voice is still there.
Yeah.
And who knows where my life is going to really go from this point. But listen, let me tell you, Jasmine Knight, if I get a Grammy or anything, trust me, I am just going to sit there for at least, I will cry my eyes out. No words will come out.
Oh.
I will just cry because I'm thinking about it now and I've moved, you know, because I believe in my own story. You know, I didn't step on anyone. I didn't stab anyone in the back. I didn't tear anyone down to get to where I got to. I've just done it the slow way, the good way, the tortoise way, the clean heart way.
Yeah, that's the best way.
Yeah.
Honestly, those people that have ripped people off, you know, do they sleep at night?
I think they do.
You're not.
I think they sleep quite well, you know.
No, I mean,
their children, their houses are paid for.
I know, but
you know.
Your heart is clean. You know, they're going to always have those, you know, those voices, or, you know, something's just not going to be right with someone who's not got a pure heart.
It is.
You know?
It is about being a clean-hearted person. That's what it is.
Yeah.
You know,
that's the best way to be, and I think that's the best way to be, even in an industry like this. I think just be honest, open.
And that's why we manage people now, or we mentor people, and teach the young ones about the industry and the pitfalls and how horrible it can be. And then they don't want to go. They want that mummy and daddiness from me and Mikey and that wraparound care. And I think that ABMM's going to be really, really good. I think it's going to, you know, so many people in the industry that know me. And plus, because I've been doing it for so long, I am not an arsehole. Yes, I'm always a little bit late, but I'm not unreliable. And I don't have off days where, oh, there's attitude and I'm not doing this. Sometimes I
Yeah.
have a meltdown, but what am I going to wear?
But that's
But,
normal.
I have meltdowns, but I don't, because I'm a woman and you
Yeah.
have those bad days and you think, oh, I don't have a period anymore, but I've got menopause and da. But the good thing about the industry is, I've got a lot of friends in the industry now. I got a lot of friends. They're like, Angie. I'm like, oh. If I go to like a network thing, there's
Yeah.
everyone recognises the coat, the same coat that came on tour on the tour bus, with Bazaring in the mid-90s, still got it. Do you know what I mean? I am girl next door. I do keep it real. I'm not flamboyant. I haven't got a fast car, but all my hard work,
Yeah.
I paid off my mortgage. I've done good things, but I'm not extravagant. We just keep it. We keep it real. We're still paying the bills,
Yeah.
and we use the money to do more promotions to set things up for the future. So
Yeah. Of course. That's amazing.
thank
It's
you.
been so nice to speak to you. Obviously, everything that we've spoken about, I'll put links in on the YouTube video. So, ABMM, I'll make sure it's in the YouTube description, and everything else we've discussed as well. Any sort of last advice that you would tell anyone who wants to get into the music industry, or someone who's thinks that they are deserved some sort of, they've got copyright out there that's not.
It's so interesting, actually, just being here and having this kind of conversation in the first place, and that you can reference it. I just would say that most people can find out things online now.
Yeah.
You'll see other singers speaking out. I mean, look how many singers have got up for a Grammy and said the industry's done this, that, and the other. I mean, I don't know people's personal stories on what they're going through, but definitely, if music is your heartbeat, then stick with it. Stick with it. Try and be fair. Try and do things with a clean heart, because that will come back to you.
Yeah.
And try and treat people as you wish to be treated.
Yeah.
And enjoy it, because you're in an exclusive club.
Yeah.
If you
I
have
like that, an
that
exclusive club.
ability to move people through your music, that people want to stream you again or come and see you live. People are moved by your music. They write to you. They tell you your voice is brilliant or that performance was brilliant. Then you should be humbled by that.
Yeah.
And because before, when I was a kid, there was only 3 or 4 channels. But now everyone's got their own channel. Everyone's got their own phone. Everyone's got their own Insta. Everyone's got their own TV show. Nobody has to watch BBC anymore. We can just watch whatever we're watching on our phones. So if you still get love, you still generate the love. People still want to look at your Spotify. People still come to gigs to come and see me, take a selfie, or talk to me, or say, Angie, I find that. I find that humbling.
Oh, Angie.
It is.
I just wanted to get to know you. That was all. I just could tell
No,
that you're just an incredible woman.
I get easily moved because it's music. It's
Yeah.
music. It's my life. It's what I've lived for, and I love it. And it's my heartbeat. And if I couldn't do music, then I wouldn't want to be here. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
And I love it.
See that your passion. You've worked hard. You're incredible.
Thank you.
This is your exclusive.
I love it. I love music. And thank you for watching, and thank you for supporting me over the years. I wouldn't still be here if you guys weren't buying into it. I appreciate it. I do, from my whole heart. I appreciate it.
Angie Brown, everybody!
Oh, sorry, I cried.
That's fine. Can I give you a hug? Can I give you a hug? I'll come to you. Oh.
I'll sit down, do it properly. Come on, Papa. Thank you so much. Oh, Jasmine.